Thakur Chapter 2, Section 1. So, Thakur Ramakrishna's boat ride with respected Keshebs Chandra Sen, joy and conversation. This is Section 1. Thakur Ramakrishna in the Temple of Samadhi. Today is Kojagor, the Lakshmi Puja, Friday the 27th of October 1882, according to the Christian calendar. Thakur is sitting in that now familiar room at the Dakshineshwar Kali temple. He is conversing with Vijay Goswami and Haralal. Someone came and said, "Kesheb Sen has arrived by ship at the Ghat." Kesheb's disciples saluted and said, "Revered sir, the ship has come. You'll have to go. Please come on a little excursion. Kesheb Babu is on the ship. He sent us." It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Thakur is boarding the ship by a small boat. Vijay is with him. As soon as he climbs into the boat, he loses outer consciousness, the state of Samadhi. Master, M, is standing on board the ship, looking at this picture of Samadhi. At 3 in the afternoon, he had boarded Kesheb's ship and come from Calcutta. His great longing is that he will see Thakur and Kesheb's meeting and their joy, and will hear their conversation. Kesheb, in his holy character and eloquent speeches, has carried off the minds of many Bengali youths like Master. A great many, feeling him to be like their own dearest relative, have given him their heart's love. Kesheb is an English-educated person, and has learned English philosophy and literature. He also has said many times that the worship of gods and goddesses is idolatry. This type of person has devotion to and faith in Sri Ramakrishna, and from time to time comes to have his darshan. This is an astonishing matter indeed. Where or how their minds meet, Master and the others have become curious to penetrate this mystery. Thakur is a believer in an absolute without form, no doubt, but is also a believer in an absolute with form. He contemplates Brahman, and also worships before the images of gods and goddesses with flowers and sandalwood paste, and dances and sings wrapped in divine love. He sits on cots with bedding, wears red-bordered cloth, shirts, socks, and shoes. But he does not lead a domestic life. His mood is completely that of a sannyasin. That is why people call him a Paramahamsa. On the other hand, Kesheb is a believer in an absolute without form, has taken a wife and children, leads a domestic life, gives lectures in English, writes for newspapers, and performs worldly work. The assembled Brahmo devotees and their leader Kesheb are on the ship, viewing in detail the beauty of the temple. East of the ship, not far away, is the bathing ghat and the Chandni. To the left of the passengers on the north side of the Chandni is a succession of 6 of the 12 Shiva temples and 6 temples on the south side. On the canvas of autumn's blue sky is the spire of Babatarani's temple, and towards the north of the tips of the Panchavati and the tamarisk trees can be seen. Near the Bakutal is a music pavilion, and another one is south of the Kali temple at the far end of the property. Between both music pavilions is a garden path lined with rows of flowering trees. The blueness of autumn's blue sky is radiant in the waters of Janu's daughter, the river Ganga. In the outside world is a mood of softness. In the hearts of the Brahmo devotees is a mood of softness. Above is the beautiful deep blue endless sky. In front is the beautiful temple, and below the pure waters of the Ganga, on whose banks the Aryan rishis contemplated the Blessed One. Again a great saint is coming, the embodiment of the eternal religion. This kind of encounter does not always occur in human destiny. In a case such as this, whose devotion is not aroused by the great saint settled in Samadhi, which stone heart does not thoroughly melt? Chapter 2, Section 2. It starts with the Gita verse, Chapter 2, verse 22. Just as a person casts off worn-out clothes and puts on new ones, so the embodied self casts off worn-out bodies and enters new ones. In the temple of Samadhi, the indestructible Atman, Pavahari Baba, the boat came alongside. Everyone is anxious to see Thakur Sri Ramakrishna. A crowd is formed. Kesheb was frantically hurrying so that Thakur could safely board. With much difficulty, he is made conscious and is being taken inside a cabin. Still in the state of ecstasy, of bhava. Leaning on a devotee, he is coming. Only his feet are moving. He entered the cabin. Kesheb and the other devotees bow to him, but he is not conscious at all. In the middle of the cabin are a table and several chairs. Thakur was helped to sit in a chair, and Kesheb sat on one. Vijay sat down. The other devotees sat down on the floor wherever they could. Many people have no place. They are outside straining to see. Thakur sits down, and again the state of Samadhi, completely void of outer consciousness. Everyone is watching with one pointed focus. Kesheb saw many people in the cabin. Thakur is becoming uncomfortable. Vijay has rejected him, meaning Kesheb, and left, and joined the Salaram Brahmo Samaj, and given many speeches against such customs as early marriage for girls, etc. That is why, seeing Vijay, Kesheb is a little uneasy. Leaving his seat, Kesheb rose and is going to open the windows of the room. The Brahmo devotees are watching with one pointed focus. Thakur's Samadhi broke. He was still thoroughly in bhava. Thakur is speaking on his own, indistinctly. Ma, why have you brought me here? Will I be able to rescue them from inside their fence? Is Thakur seeing that worldly people are trapped inside a fence and are not able to come out, not even able to catch sight of the light outside? Everyone bound hand and foot in worldly activities, only able to see things inside the house and thinking that the goal of life is only pleasures of the body and worldly activities, lust and greed, kamani kanchan? Is that why Thakur spoke such words? Ma, why have you brought me here? Will I be able to rescue them from inside their fence? Thakur is gradually becoming outwardly aware. Nil Madhav Babu of Ghazipur and a Brahmo devotee brought up Pavahari Baba, a Brahmo devotee, to Thakur. Revered sir, they have all seen Pavahari Baba. He stays in Ghazipur. He's another one like you. Thakur is still not able to speak. He smiled slightly. Brahmo devotee to Thakur. Revered sir, Pavahari Baba keeps your photograph in his room. Thakur smiled slightly, and with his finger he pointed to his own body and said, a covering. Chapter 2, Section 3. Starts with the Gita verse. Gita, chapter 5, verse 5. That place reached by the Sankhya's or the Jnanis is reached by the yogis. One indeed sees who sees that Jnana and Yoga are one. Harmony of Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Karma Yoga. M is musing. A pillow in its covering. The one embodied and the body. Is Thakur saying that the body is destructible and will not last? That inside the body is the one embodied who is indestructible? And therefore, what is the use of taking a photograph of the body? That the body is an impermanent thing, so what is the use of adoring it? That instead one should worship the Blessed One, the inner guide, who exists within the hearts of human beings? Thakur has returned to a somewhat normal state. He is saying, but there's a point. A devotee's heart is her abode. She is present in all beings, no doubt, but in a devotee's heart, she is present in a special form. Just as a landlord can stay in any of the places on his estate, but he usually stays in a particular living room. People say this. A devotee's heart is the Blessed One's living room. Everyone is joyful. One God, her different names, the Jnani, the Yogi, and the Bhakta. And here Jnani means a follower on the path of knowledge. Thakur continues, the one the Jnanis call the Absolute, Brahman, and the one the Yogis call the Self, Atman, the Bhaktas call the Blessed One, Bhagavan. There's the same Brahman, And here, Brahman, with an I, is of the priestly caste. So there's the same Brahman. When he performs worship, he's called a priest. When he cooks, then he's a Brahman cook. A jnani who follows jnana yoga, not this, he reasons like this. Brahman, the absolute, isn't this, isn't that, isn't living beings, isn't the world. Reasoning like this, once the mind becomes steady, the mind dissolves, there's Samadhi, and then knowledge of Brahman. A knower of Brahman's established understanding is Brahman is true, the world is false. Name and form and all this is like a dream. What Brahman is can't be spoken of with the lips. It can't even be said that it's a person, a personal God. Jnanis talk like this. For instance, Vedantists. Bhaktas, however, accept all states. They say that even the waking state is true. They don't say that the world is like a dream. Bhaktas say this world is Bhagavan's splendor. The sky, stars, moon, sun, mountains, oceans, people, animals, God has made all this. It's her splendor. She is inside, within the heart and also outside. The best devotee says she herself has become the 24 principles. She has become living beings and the world. A devotee's desire is that they taste sugar. They don't want to be sugar. Everyone laughs. Do you know what kind of feeling a devotee has? O Bhagavan, you're the master, I'm your servant. You're mother, I'm your child. And then, you're my father or my mother. You're the whole, I'm your part. A devotee doesn't want to say things like, I am Brahman. A yogi too tries to behold the Supreme Soul, the Paramatman. The goal, union of the individual soul and the Supreme Soul. A yogi withdraws the mind from objects and tries to fix the mind on the Paramatman. So at the first stage, they meditate and contemplate in solitude, in a steady posture, without any other thought. But it's the same thing, only the name is different. The one that's Brahman, that itself is Atman, that itself is Bhagavan. A Brahmagyani is Brahman, a yogi's Paramatman, a bhakta's Bhagavan. Continue. Chapter 2, Section 4. And this starts, first time it's not a Gita verse or something. Mahendranath Tantra. You are the subtle, and you are the gross. You, O Mother, are manifest as well as unmanifest. You are both with form and formless. Who is able to know you? Harmony of Vedas and Tantras. Glory of Adya Shakti. Meanwhile, the steamer is moving towards Calcutta. Inside the cabin, those having darshan of Sri Ramakrishna and listening to his nectar-filled words were unaware as to whether or not the ship was moving. When a bee sits on a flower, does it buzz anymore? Gradually the vessel left Dakshineshwar behind. The picture of the beautiful temple was out of sight. The boat wheel kept churning up the blue-tinged waters of the Ganga into roaring, frothing waves. That roar no longer reached the ears of the devotees. They are captivated, watching an extraordinary yogi with a smiling face, full of bliss, eyes colored in the hue of divine love, handsome. They are captivated, watching the all-renouncing, affectionate Vairagi. Besides God, he knows nothing else. Meanwhile, Thakur's talk is going on. Sri Ramakrishna. Followers of Vedanta and Brahmagyanis say that creation, preservation, and destruction, living beings in the world, all this is Shakti's play. If you go on reasoning, all this is like a dream. Brahman alone is the reality. All else is unreal. Even Shakti is like a dream, unreal. But reason 1,000 times. If you don't become established in Samadhi, going beyond Shakti's realm is impossible. I am meditating, I am contemplating. All this is within Shakti's realm, within Shakti's splendor. That's why Brahman and Shakti are non-different. If you accept one, you also have to accept the other. It's like fire and its burning power. If you accept fire, you have to accept its burning power. Without its burning power, you can't think of fire. Also, without fire, you can't think of its burning power. Without the sun, you can't think of the sun's rays. Without the sun's rays, you can't think of the sun. What's milk like? Oh, it's white. Without milk, you can't think of milk's whiteness. And without milk's whiteness, you can't think of milk. So, you can't think of Shakti without Brahman, or of Brahman without Shakti. You can't think of the Leela, the relative phenomenal world, without the Nitya, the absolute, or of the Nitya without the Leela. The primordial power, Adya Shakti, is full of play. She's creating, preserving, and destroying. Her name is Kali. Okay. Kali herself is Brahman. Brahman itself is Kali. They're the same thing. When she's inactive, not creating, preserving, destroying, or doing any work, when I think of just this idea, then I call her Brahman. When she's doing all this, then I say Kali, I say Shakti. The one and the same person. The name and form are different. It's like jal, water, and pani. At a pond are 3 or 4 ghats. At one ghat, the Hindus drink water. They say jal. At another ghat, the Muslims drink water. They say pani. At another ghat, the English drink water. They say water. These 3 are one. The difference is only in name. Some are calling her Allah, some God, some are saying Brahman, some Kali, some are saying Rama, Hari, Jesus, Durga. Kesheb, smiling. In how many ways is Kali playing? Please say some words on that. Words with Kesheb, Mahakali, and process of creation. Sri Ramakrishna, smiling. She's playing in various ways. She herself is Mahakali, Nitya Kali, Smashan Kali, Raksha Kali, Shama Kali. There's mention of Mahakali and Nitya Kali in the Tantras. Back when creation hadn't even happened yet, there was no moon, sun, planets, earth, dense darkness. Then there was only Ma, formless Mahakali, existing with Mahakala. Shama Kali's mood is mostly gentle. She who gives boons and fearlessness, Varabhaya Dayini. Householders worship her in the home. When there's an epidemic, a famine, an earthquake, a deluge, or a drought, Raksha Kali has to be worshipped. Smashan Kali is the image of destruction. She resides in the cremation ground with corpses, jackals, dakinis, and yoginis. Blood streaming, a garland of heads around her neck, a girdle of human arms around her waist. When the universe is destroyed, there's the great dissolution. Then Ma gathers up and keeps all the seeds of creation. Just like a housewife has a pot of rags and scraps, and in that pot, the housewife keeps 5 different kinds of things. Kesheb and everyone else laugh. Thakur continues. He's smiling. Oh yes, housewives have that type of pot. Inside are seafoam sponges, indigo pellets, little tied up bundles of cucumber seeds, pumpkin seeds, opal squash seeds. They keep all of these, and when they need them, then they take them out. After creation is destroyed, Ma, she who is full of Brahman, Brahmamai, she gathers up and keeps all those seeds. After creation, Adya Shakti lives inside the universe. She gives birth to the universe and then lives within the universe. It's in the Vedas, the idea of Urnanabi, a spider in its web. A spider brings forth the web from inside itself, then itself lives in that web. God is both the container and the content of the universe. Kali Brahman, M entitles the next subsection. Kali Brahman, one word. Kali without form and with form. Then Sri Ramakrishna continues. Is Kali black? From a distance she's black. Once you're able to know her, she's no longer black. The sky from a distance is blue-colored. You look up close, it doesn't have any color at all. The water of the ocean from a distance is blue. Go up close, pick it up in your palm and look. It has no color at all. Saying these words, drunk with divine love, Sri Ramakrishna started to sing. Is my mother Shyama really black? The form of time, and clad in the sky, she lights the lotus of the heart. We have time for one more? Okay. Chapter 2, Section 5. Gita, chapter 7, verse 13 is the epigram. Deluded by the three gunas, this world does not know me, distinct from them and changeless. Why this world? Sri Ramakrishna, to Kesheb and the others. Bondage and liberation? She's the cause of both. By her delusion, Maya, a worldly being is trapped in Kamani Kanchan, and again by her mercy, Daya, is freed. She is the Savior who removes the bondage that binds the world. Having said this, he is singing a song of Ramprasad in a voice that shames the heavenly minstrels. O dark mother, you are flying kites above the marketplace of this world. Swelling with hope's wind, so high they soar, bound each one to Maya's cord. Crows circling round them, richly fashioned with frames of rib cages and veins of varied hue, each kite crafted with qualities of its own, built with skill unmatched and transcendent. Since those cords you have smeared with the manja paste of worldly lures, so rough, so jagged they have become. Out of 100,000 kites, 1 or 2 are cut free, and you give a laugh, mother, and clap your hands. Prasad says, the southern wind will lift those kites up, and quickly they shall cross the ocean of this world. Sri Ramakrishna continues. She is she who is full of play, Leela-mayi. This world is her play. She is she who is full of will, Ichcha-mayi. She who is full of bliss, Ananda-mayi. She grants liberation to 1 among 100,000, a Brahmo-devotee. Revered Sir, if she chooses, everyone can be freed. Why then do we remain trapped in the world? Sri Ramakrishna, it's her will. It's her will that she plays with everything here. If, in the game of hide and seek, you touch the old lady at the beginning, then you don't have to run around. If everyone touches the old lady, how do they keep playing? If everyone touches the old lady, she's upset. If the game keeps on going, then the old lady is delighted. That's why, out of 100,000 kites, 1 or 2 are cut free, and you give a laugh, mother, and clap your hands. Everyone is joyful. With a wink of the eye, she's gestured and told the mind, go now and act in the world. Is it the mind's fault? Also, if by her mercy she turns the mind back around, then you're freed from the grip of worldly consciousness. Then once again you think of her lotus feet. Thakur is singing a song in the mood of a person in the world who is indignant before Mother. In that anguish I suffer so. Though you, Mother, reside in my home awake, yet there is robbery. I think I chant your name, but at the time I forget. Oh, but I have understood, have come to know, have received the cup of your intent. This is all nothing more than your treacherous cunning. You gave nothing, and so received nothing. You took nothing, and so ate nothing. Is that my fault? If you would give, then you would receive. If you would take, then you would eat. I would give, I would feed you. Fame and shame, sweet and bitter, everything is your delight. You delight in destroying delight. Why do you do so, O Queen of Delight? Prasad says, you have given me this mind, and with a wink of the eye you goad me on, O Mother, and I wander your creation, ever scorched by your evil eye, and all the while calling it sweet. Instruction regarding Karma Yoga, the world and selfless action. A Brahmo devotee. Revered Sir, will God be unattainable unless everything is renounced? Sri Ramakrishna, laughing. No, dear. Why will you all have to renounce everything? You're all fine sitting in the syrup, in sa, re, ma, lower notes of the music scale. Everyone laughs. You're all fine. Do you know how to play the card game Nask? Do you know how to play the card game Nask? I've been cut so many times that I'm burnt. You're all very clever. Some are at 10 points, some are at 6, some are at 5. You haven't even been cut at all, so you aren't burnt like me. The game's going on. This is fine. Everyone laughs. I'm telling the truth. You're all living a domestic life. There's no fault in this. But you'll have to keep the mind focused on God. Without that, it won't happen. With one hand, do work, and with the other hand, keep holding on to God. When the work is finished, with both hands, hold on to God. It's a matter of the mind. Bondage is only in the mind. Freedom is only in the mind. The mind will be dyed the color you dip it in, just like the cloth in a laundry room. You dip it in red, it's red. You dip it in blue, it's blue. You dip it in a green tint, it's green. It'll be dyed the same color you dip it in. Just see, if you study a little English, then immediately English words come right to your mouth. Foot, fut, it, mit. Everyone laughs. Also, boots on your feet, whistling a song, all these will come together. Also, if a scholar studies Sanskrit, then immediately he'll spew out verses. If you keep the mind in bad company, then it'll go to that type of conversation and thinking. If you keep the mind with devotees, then there'll only be thought of God and talk of Hari. It's all about the mind. On one side is wife, on the other side, child. The wife is adored in one way, the child in another way. But it's the same mind. Jai Ma, Jai Thakur. Kali Brahman.
This is especially important section. So many important points.
She's smiling.